My name is Cristian Padilla Romero. I'm a doctoral student in the history department, and ICE has been trying to deport my mother for 3 months now. And last week they actually used physical force to try to do that and failed to do so, and they're still trying to do that right now. So I'm counting on people's support and helping us make sure that ICE doesn't deport her and actually release her so she can see her doctor. So my mom's recovering from stage 4 cancer. She was diagnosed in 2016. That's one of the main reasons we're asking for her release, because she has to be on watch for the next 4 years, and ICE is not allowing her to do that. Instead, they want to expedite her deportation, and she's getting even more ill as time passes by in detention center for her. She was detained in mid-August, August 15th, I believe. Her health is quickly deteriorating in that center. So Sunday night, I got a call from one of my mother's inmate friends, called me frantically crying, saying that my mom was forcefully and taken away by ICE officers. That prompted me to try to investigate where she was. We had no idea where she was going. Our first initial thought was obviously that she was being deported, but we didn't know where she would be deported to. We also were skeptical about that too, because we knew that they didn't have the travel documents, so we were wondering where she was being taken. It wasn't until 1:30 p.m. that I got a call from the Honduran consul, the general consul in Atlanta, where she told me that ICE did indeed attempt to deport her. They took her to the airport. I actually don't know what airport to this day, but that she was not put on a plane because of the lack of travel documents, and she was subsequently returned to the detention center. It wasn't until 5 p.m. that day that I was actually able to talk to her. She called me, I guess after she arrived. She told me what happened that whole night, which is what basically they told her that she was being deported, and she said that she wasn't supposed to because she still has motions and appeals pending, as well as she knew that the travel documents weren't issued, so she's not supposed to go anywhere. ICE then went on to threaten her with pepper spray. They didn't actually use it. They just used it to intimidate her. And they eventually used physical force. According to her, 5 to 7 people picked her up from different limbs and carried her across a room, and she was thrown to a bench. She was handcuffed till 4 a.m. that day until she was transported, I guess put in a van or some sort of bus to the airport. According to her as well, she didn't receive water till like 10:30 in the morning. She didn't eat till like 3:30 p.m. None of her medications were taken with her. She didn't even have her glasses. So that was obviously a very traumatic experience. She woke up the next day calling us, and we could tell that she was very anxious, actually. We had actually an attorney visit her that day, the following day, the Tuesday. She explained to them what happened, and towards the end, she actually had a seizure I'm assuming from just reliving the memories, and it just shows the state of mind that she was in. Because we knew that she was in that state, she says that she requested medical care, but they didn't. They just told her to make the formal request, which takes like 2 to 3 days when an inmate makes a request. So then we told our attorney to make a formal request. So it wasn't until then that I believe she was taken to a hospital. But they just did like some very basic exams, I think, in her throat. It's nothing oncological, which is what we're looking for. And we just see it as an attempt by ICE to cover their base without actually, be concerned for her health. Since then, I just recently learned that they're actually now putting pressure. The DC higher ups of ICE, I believe, are putting the pressure on the Honduran embassy to issue those travel documents to her, which is obviously it's not confirmed, but my fears are that if they do put enough pressure, that the embassy will be forced to sign those documents, and she could be deported this Monday. Yes. This is where we are at the moment. We actually, Congresswoman Rosa DeLauro just issued a press release with a letter that they sent to ICE saying that she should be released on humanitarian grounds. ICE does have the discretionary power to do this. They're choosing not to, and so hopefully that has some positive effect as well. We're asking people to call their congressional representatives and to advocate on behalf of my mother. It could be either publicly or privately, especially for the ones in Georgia and Connecticut. So because we see that ICE is just not willing to cooperate and see the humanity of my mother, and so it seems like it would require some sort of congressional or federal intervention. We're also asking to continue the calls to ICE to persuade them at least, or keep attempting to persuade them to release her and see the humanitarian reasons for which we're asking for her release. Again, we're asking for her release so she can see her doctor while we await her motions and appeals.